two thoughts, trying to remember them. One about, if we have the profit motive organising society, we're completely untethered from, we just end up in a perpetual arms race, like nothing is ever enough. Animals are exploited and land is ravaged and people are, squeezed for as much as they can in this kind of monopoly board of differential power. And then the other point is about coming back to house prices. Like we could recalibrate so they were the same level as in the early 90s. So we should halve house prices and then half rents and then regulate it. Like there should be sort of mechanisms to regulate, and then rents, say, can go up with the level of general inflation. But, there's a tight control on general inflation as well, so that because, you have commodities that go up and down in the international markets, FX and, for substantive reasons and squeeze supply, like food commodities and grain and, energy is the big one. But the problem is once there is a spike in energy, that translates through the domestic ecosystem. And then, we have these really stratospherically high prices, once that all bunches up with everyone taking a cut and, by the time it gets to retail prices. But the point is, we never see retail prices go down, like ever. So, energy goes down, the other commodities goes down, and everyone just thinks, well, people are used to these prices, they can pay it. We'll just keep shoveling more and more profit. There's no equilibrium in this system. There's no mechanism to calibrate to anything reasonable when you just have profit extraction and pushing prices up because costs have gone up, but not pushing them back down when costs have gone down. Like, we need more, if we are going to have some sort of form of, capitalism where individuals and companies operating purely in their own interests make decisions, we need a better framework to calibrate and ensure that consumers, people and society isn't being ripped off. So that applies to, calibrating how much prices are, retailers, especially, for core essentials, food and stuff, how much they're allowed to hike, how much profit they're allowed to suddenly balloon. There needs to be calibration of that and pushback, like systems and checks and balances, not just a free-for-all for people to just what's expropriate value from captive markets. This, you can call this the other side to competition, but then the more broader calibration is around, should we even have landlords, like people seeking to own homes purely to extract profit? I don't think that's justifiable. I just read this insane article arguing that, oh no, well, if you push out landlords, like this new Renters' Rights Act is like moderately increasing rights of renters, but only so there's no fault eviction. You're really squeezing landlords, and that's going to squeeze supply of rented homes, which is going to push up rents. And it's just like the garbled, absolute bogus logic. No, if you take out capital seeking to buy up homes so that because they've got more money and they're looking where to invest it, and thus pushing out people who would be buying a home for themselves, if you remove that subset, how you get normal people being able to afford homes, you get home prices falling, you get people who are renting and don't want to be renting, buying. Absolute fucking garbled logic of some of this shit. It's just so pro those with a little bit of wealth. And it's just really fucking pathetic because they've just got no concern for the impact on broader society. Like, this is not the same society as our parents were living in when their price and rent to wages ratio was half or a third what it is now. We are being absolutely squeezed because of this diffuse, complex system where those with more money have free rein to exploit their advantage to take more and more. and the specific, dysfunction that results in the housing market, and the ability to just, because we need a home. When wealth balloons, you're inflating assets in a tiny segment and they start pricing out everyone else and then charging back to them at inflated rates and taking the profit and just taking it. It's just so fucking dysfunctional. There's no counterbalance. There's no equilibrium in this system. This is the problem of capitalism. It just gets worse and worse and worse. And now we have techno fucking feudalism as well. It's about calibration and understanding the absolute rotted argumentation of, the older middle class that have got a little bit of money and are renting out homes. They don't, their little nest egg is at the cost of society forever going forward. That they're fucking the entire thing. And I'm sorry, we just need to sort it out. Because the nice thing is once you start calibrating everything, so, this isn't even fucking socialist. This is just the level of homes and rent in a capitalist system in the 1990s in the UK. But the nice thing about it is once you start removing the ability of power to just exploit, hike prices and fatten their profit in this never-ending chain of fuckery, you also reduce the cost for the government and for ordinary people for providing homes for everything. Everything becomes affordable because we're not in this kind of dysfunctional, contorted system where power is liberated to extort. Anyway, pause.